What if I told you that there is a way to improve certain things, certain areas for everyone with very little effort? It would cost you nothing, and it would really benefit pretty much everyone. Not truly, literally every single person on the planet, but a huge chunk of the human race. At least that part of the human race that drives on the road. What am I talking about? Drive on the right. Drive in the right lane, and of course, I'm talking about the vast majority of the world that, like the United States and most of Europe, have right-hand side traffic. So, of course, if you live in England, Australia, Japan, where they drive on the left-hand side, just reverse that, and when I say right lane, you just think left lane. But the outermost lane in a multi-lane traffic, of course. That is actually a rule, and in most jurisdictions, as far as I'm aware, it's actually the law. It's just never enforced, or almost never. What does it matter? What would it improve for whom? What are you even talking about? The first problem is ignorance. A lot of people don't know, that they're simply not aware. A lot of people just go and sit in the leftmost or left turnmost, I don't know, leftmost lane, in the most left lane, that's supposed to be only for passing, and they just sit there. They sit there at a low speed, or they sit there at the speed limit, irrelevant. The left lane is only for passing. The only situation where one is or should be in the left lane is when actively passing another vehicle. That's all. There's no other, and emergencies, of course. Your wife is giving birth in the back seat. Someone has to rush to the hospital, diabetic, of course, first responders, ambulance, firefighters, cops, so on and so forth. But otherwise, there is exactly zero reason and zero justification for being in the left. A lot of people love cruising slowly in the left because they see, oh, convenient, there's less cars. And of course, there is a stereotype of older retired people and so on and so forth, and there's plenty of jokes about it. But the reality is that nobody should be in the left lane when not actively passing. And I think that the number one reason for that is simply ignorance, because no one says it. If you open your manual, your driving, not the car's manual, but when you first get your license, right, the driving book, it's barely mentioned. It's mentioned probably, but somewhere buried in the fine print or in the last pages when it's just the boring stuff, not what they really ask you. As far as I know, no state has that on the written exam, not even one question. Of course, the driving teachers don't teach that for the most part. They should. Now, why is this? Why is it not enforced? Why doesn't the DMV of any state really put any kind of emphasis on that? I should have done a little bit more deeper research, but I think that in many states it's not even mentioned in the driving book, or maybe mentioned in passing. It should have its own chapter. It should lay it out and explain it. You always drive in the rightmost lane. Again, if you're nervous for incoming and outgoing traffic, then in a multi-lane, then you can move one to the right, but not the leftmost, not the lane, not the passing lane. It's called a passing lane for a reason. So let's see who benefits. Number one, what are the consequences of driving in the left lane? Road rage, accidents, people being mean and obnoxious to one another. Someone wants to pass, you're blocking the lane, they flash you, you're giving the finger, road rage, they try to pass you on the right, they pass into the slow lanes. So driving in the left increases the number of accidents and traffic. Who benefits from this? Well, insurance companies, municipalities, more accidents, more tickets, more problems. There you go. Before anybody starts screaming conspiracy theory, because that's a response that I often get when I talk to people about this. No, people don't necessarily have to conspire, at least not actively, not directly conspire with one another. So it's not like, oh, the police department calls the insurance company, hey, we're gonna give you kickbacks, we're gonna give a lot of tickets, blah blah blah. But when you put all of these together, so there is zero calling to attention. There's so many drives and campaigns to draw attention to this or that aspect of driving, of road safety, right? Number one, speed. Number two, DUI. If you think about it, speeding per se is a victimless crime, right? You just speeding. Speed in and of itself is not really dangerous, but the consequences of speeding, if something happens, are of course worse, more dire. So if you hit something, whether it's something moving, another vehicle, or something stationary, like a power pole or a tree or divider, whatever it is, even if you spin or slip on the road, then the faster you go, the worse the consequences will be. Obviously, same thing DUI. If you get into a car while you are legally drunk, you had a normal beer with lunch, right? According to the law, you know how to step into your car. You hurt no one. You go to work, you come back from work, nothing happened. You broke the law. And yet there's always drives and campaigns and bringing it to the public's attention and PSAs and on the TV and radio and so on and so forth, all kinds of ads reminding you of this. Well, you never see any of this to draw attention to people driving in the left lane. And yet, driving in the left lane is the impetus, is the cause of many, many accidents. It slows down traffic. It's bad. And someone does benefit from it. Who benefits from it? The cops, most prominently, and of course, the insurance companies. How do the insurance companies? You say that it increases accidents, so that the insurance companies have to do disbursement. Yes, but the statistic of accidents encourages people to buy insurance. So if the number of accidents would decrease by 5, 10, 20%, then in insurance companies, the number of insured people or the number of people who purchase insurance or additional insurance would decrease, and the prices would also go down. And of course, less traffic less traffic summons, less traffic tickets is more revenue for, of course, the municipalities and the police departments. And of course, the police departments get kickback because the insurance companies donate to the PBA. And of course, the body shops and the mechanics who take care of accidents, they would lose out, right? Very often there is a certain amount of mechanics and body shops who sponsor a part of the highway, right? How do they make money? From accidents. Now, of course, they want accidents. So they give kickbacks to the PBA. The PBA turns a blind eye to driving in the left lane. And if you don't believe me, do some research of your own. So, what can be done? Number one, lead by example. Do what's right, drive on the right. Drive in the right lane unless it's absolutely necessary, unless you need to pass. And of course, it's always worse around big cities. I once took a nice little drive through the countryside in Oklahoma. I went from western to eastern Oklahoma into Arkansas, and then back into Oklahoma and down to Dallas, Texas. It was a pleasure. Why? Because people abided by that. But as soon as I got into like larger cities or more populated areas, it started to become a nightmare. Not as bad as on the East Coast, as like Los Angeles and New York, but it was also pretty bad. Dallas was pretty bad. But in the countryside, there's big signs: drive on the right, only pass on the left, and this is the speed limit. So that's number one. Of course, lead by example. Talk to people, and then petition your local DMV, the mayor, the elected officials. Hey, this causes accidents. Here is the statistics. More accidents. Let's bring attention to this. Let's enforce the law. It's one of the road rules that are never enforced. So if you do 81 in the 80 zone, or usually they don't pull you over for one miles per hour. That of course it's difficult to prove. But let's just say that you do 75 in the 70 zone and so on and so forth. you get pulled over, you get a summons, and you have to pay a fine, right? Never or almost never does it happen with driving in the left lane. There is a section of I think I-95 where it is also together with the Garden State Parkway, or maybe it's just the Garden State, somewhere around Route 4 and the Garden State. There's kind of a lot of malls, and there the cops pull you over. But it's one of the only parts of the country where they do it on a regular basis, and even then they typically won't do it in traffic when it's really significant. If it's 3 a.m. and all lanes are empty, that's I think 4 or 5 lanes at a certain point, and there if you dare driving in the left lane, yeah, they'll pull you over. But otherwise, it's almost unheard of that anyone would get pulled over for driving in the left lane, in the passing lane, and also it's easy. It would require exactly zero expenses or very little, mostly zero. Simply tell the DMV to start introducing it in classes. You just send out a memo to all of the driving schools, dedicate a chapter, a 15, 10, 20-minute explanation on why one must drive only in the right lane and not to drive in the left lane. Explain the benefits, explain the disadvantages, explain how to pass. Don't cause road rage, don't cause people to pass you on the right, and so on and so forth. In the next edition, you can do a new chapter in the book. Here, make it one of the first chapters once you understand the rules of the road, the red lights, the road signs, and so on and so forth. Dedicate a chapter. Again, it's a $0 expense because the DMVs always anyway update and revise their books, and then every couple of years there is a new edition. Just put it's a one or 2 page explanation in a book. It's a short chapter. Just draw attention to it. Put a big stop sign or a exclamation mark, whatever it is. Highlight it, put it in red, and so on and so forth. Revise your road test that you put it down. Tell the actual not the written test. Yeah, of course. Put a couple of questions regarding it in the written test. And also in the road test itself, tell testers to test the students on it and remind them before they get into the car. Do you know that you're supposed to be in the right-hand side lane and not in the passing lane? It's pretty simple. Now, even the expense that is or that might be involved with this or tied to this, it's simply with the entrance of the highway, just put a big sign. Please drive on the right. The left lane is for passing only. This is the speed limit, it's always there. So when you replace the signs, just add a little bit of extra text. Hey, please always only drive on the right unless it's an emergency or you're actively passing. That's it. You're done passing, back into the right lane. There's someone going too slow for your taste, again, get out, pass, get back. It's really that simple. Contact your elected officials on a state level, on a federal level. And this could be a true grassroots movement that benefits everybody. Who is going to lose out? Of course, the PBA. They're going to lose a few donations, and of course the insurance companies and the body shops and the mechanics who service those types of roads. Guess what? They would have to contend with some losses. It's not worth the accidents and all of the negative impact. And that money saved could be done into some custom work or other things, and maybe some of the body shops and mechanics can work out some other deals, compensate for it. But there is really no reason to increase accidents. So less accidents, in general terms, benefit everyone, except of course the mechanics, body shops, insurance, and the cops. So please do what's right, drive on the right, and what I would like to ask anyone and everyone is make a similar video, put it on YouTube, or just write it, make a post, and let's keep the avalanche going on social media until it might reach maybe the regular mainstream or legacy media and talk about it. Obviously, the media is not going to talk about it because they would be in bed with the bad actors, with the bad players. But who knows? Maybe some host would not be aware of it or is not entrenched with the police or the PBA or the insurance companies. You know, they're advertisers. So there you go. Do what's right. Drive on the right, and I'll catch you on the next one. And until then, keep rocking on and on and on and on.